Hey gents, today we're taking a look at Carlos Santos, one of the most requested brands on the channel. I think partially due to the price point and also because there aren't a lot of reviews out there, and the price is part of why I haven't done a video on them, is because it's like I bought those Carmina shoes a while ago and I bought a few others, and it's like Carlos Santos kind of slipped through the cracks. But the Noble Shoe was kind enough to send over a pair just for me to check out, get, experience the leather, see on my foot, talk a little bit about sizing. So I'll put a link to the Noble Shoe down below. I think there might be a small discount, but they carry some of the finest shoes out there, including Carlos Santos, Crockett & Jones, and several other brands. So the two shoes we're taking a look at today are the Loafers and their sneakers. I'll talk about the leathers. I want to compare them a little bit to my Carminas and then, put them in that price bracket of where they fall. I also have a pair of their sneakers, which is something that gets requested quite a bit too. So let's give this the full unboxing experience because it's still unopened for me. And then we'll take a look at the Loafers first, and then we'll do the sneakers, but I'll put timestamps if you want to jump to a particular product down in the description. So Carlos Santos shoes are all Goodyear welted, handmade in Portugal, and they bill themselves on the website as the pride of exquisite manufacturing in Portugal, and today they remain a family business. Their price points put them around the Carmina level, especially on the Oxford's side. They're the ones that are listed on the Noble Shoe right now are $400 US. So at that price range, you're looking at the top end of Allen Edmonds, Paul Evans starts to get in there, Crockett & Jones, Loke 1880. And so they're in great company here. And so I'm excited to dive into just how beautiful the leather is and the materials. Because what I really find is it's not that any of these shoes are overpriced, it's just that you get what you pay for. You pay for a nicer product, you get nicer construction, nicer leathers. By far and away, that is the finding across the board here. Starting with the loafers, we have a beautiful penny loafer here in a burnished, patinaed tan. And you can feel right out of the box, the leather quality, the construction, the interior lining. I actually prefer these a little bit to my Carminas, even though, my Carminas are a slightly softer leather, slightly different of a material, but the color on these on its own and just the richness of the leather really comes out with this finish. I really appreciate. Now, patina like this isn't that difficult to manage. You can use a neutral polish and a wax, that's not a big deal. But the Goodyear welted construction, the beautiful hand finishing, you can see why this is up in that tier. Now, these do come in under $300 based on the price right now on the Noble Shoe. And so if you were to compare this to an Allen Edmonds, these are much sleeker, they have a much nicer look to them. They don't feel as stiff as my Meermans did right out of the box, and so even with the Goodyear welt and the really nice leather, you're getting a really comfortable shoe out of the box. As far as sizing, so these are a 10.5, and almost every other shoe that I have, my Allen Edmonds on the 65 last, I'm an 11.5 D, and so that translated to UK size would be 10.5. I can feel in here that I probably could go down a half of a size and it wouldn't be too snug, but I could definitely get away with the 10.5. So based on my sizing in other dress shoe brands, this pretty much fits in line. Now, if it were an Oxford or a Derby or a full-on shoe where I would be wearing standard socks, I think 10.5 would be perfect. But because loafers typically wear them sockless or with a very thin no-show sock, then I probably could get away with a slight half a size down. So as far as sizing goes, I find these to be in line with the dress size, maybe a tad large, kind of like Paul Evans. Paul Evans I find to run a little bit large, but you just have to size down and account for that. Now for the sneakers. I asked the Noble Shoe to send me 2 different colors and 2 different sizes so that I could get to see them, experience them, and give a little bit of recommendation on sizing. So we have the brown in a 45, and we have the navy in a 44.5. And I can see right out of the box, and this is similar to the penny loafer, the finishing and the leather quality on this navy compared to another navy minimalist sneaker that I have from another brand. You can tell the difference day and night. And the other brand is made in Portugal. It really just comes down to the raw materials and the hand finishing on these shoes. The other shoes are about $70 less, and it's just a more dull appearance, and you can tell by feeling the leather that the Carlos Santos are a more substantial leather compared to the other brand. So it is a case of getting what you pay for. And I would actually compare these very favorably to my Paul Evans minimalist sneakers, which also have a very rich hand patinaed finish to them. And the Paul Evans ones, I've been caught in the rain, they've been soaking wet, walking through New York City, and they've held up really well. And so that is the case where I would compare these very favorably. The leather durability, because you're using a nicer quality product, just tends to be worth it in the long run. Now, as far as sizing on the sneakers, so almost every other minimalist sneaker that I've reviewed, I have been a 45. Same thing goes for Common Projects or Greats or Actually, the Paul Evans ones run a little bit big, but in the 45s on the Carlos Santos, these are absolutely perfect. I have the 44.5. They do feel just a little bit snug, and so I would be sticking with the 45 on there. So if you're looking to compare sizes for Carlos Santos to another brand, again, my dress shoe size, I'm usually a 45, and with all these minimalist sneakers, it's been a 45 or a US 12. I find the footbed to be slightly more comfortable than the penny loafer, which you'd expect, but it still has that really nice rich leather on the interior. And then as far as the cup sole, it's not like the Margam soles that we're used to, but even though these don't use Margam soles, not only is the sizing very similar to all of the other minimalist sneakers that I've worn that have Margam soles, but the density of the rubber and the overall feel does not give me any concern that these won't be as durable as a Margam sole. And what's interesting is you can see on the edge of the cup sole where some of the patina finish was done, and I mean that's not a concern for me for, you know, like quality control. It just shows like these are handmade, these are hand done, and a really beautiful finish. I like this slightly shiny, elevated style of the minimalist sneaker, and not just something that's just, you know, pure white, pure black. So there you have it, gents. Carlos Santos. If you're looking for that slightly nicer, you know, if you're in that Allen Edmonds camp and you want to go maybe a little bit nicer, a little more elegant, I would say that's where this really falls in. If you're looking to really start comparing like the Crockett and Jones and Alden and Carminas, you can't quite go into that price point. I mean, Carlos Santos sitting right there, similar silhouettes, really beautiful stuff, and you know, extremely high quality leathers and handmade Goodyear Welted construction. I think it's a really amazing option as you're kind of stepping through the brands to get into nicer and nicer quality stuff. I am very curious. So I've been trying to do less individual brands and product videos, which is what I did a lot in the beginning of the channel, and really try to focus on the roundups. I hear from you guys all the time, which I appreciate that you guys, you know, watch a ton of my videos and bounce around, but it feels like a better use of everybody's time if I distill as much information as I can, just like my loafer video, into one video to help with your research versus doing a bunch of individual unboxings and reviews. But if you miss seeing my face all the time because I'm doing less videos, let me know. I'm really curious. I'm always trying to, you know, I've always listened to you guys for feedback on the way to approach the channel. You've helped elevate me to brands like Carlos Santos, and I mean, I never thought in a million years I would have bought Shell, Cordovan, Carminas, but you know, here I am. So I appreciate your guys' feedback. As always, I'll be down in the comments. You can also reach out at _Kavalier on Twitter and Instagram. Until next time, gents, this is the Kavalier.